Hey, what's up, guys? It's your good friend Jimbo. Today's episode is presented by Vaer. Vaer was founded with the goal of building an affordable everyday wristwatch that blends tasteful design with extreme durability and functionality. Vaer returns a sense of dignity to affordable wristwatches and are built to last. Vaer is a true American watch company specializing in both quartz and automatic watches. Vaer is offering our listeners 15% off if you use the code PODGO15. Go to VaerWatches.com to learn more and get your new timepiece today.
You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, back again. Kicking off our sports week, just like the NFL kicked off this past weekend. Some interesting games going on, some sloppy play. Obviously, my Eagles were one of the teams. Maybe some surprising wins, but also college football kicked off again. Notre Dame, my favorite team, won. Should have been a lot closer than what the scores showed, but we'll get all into that in a little bit. But there's definitely some other stuff we could talk about as well, on top of the NFL and college football being back. But before we do all that, head over to StayTunedSports.net. All our social media links are on the main page there on the right-hand side. Like, Facebook, follow, all that stuff. And click the merch tab to show your support for the show. We got t-shirts there. Very close to updating it so that way you can buy hats now. I even saw on this the one site that we're going to be using fanny packs. I didn't buy myself a fanny pack. I don't care. Like my wife said, I told her, I'm buying one for when we go to Tennessee next year. She said, go ahead, I want to look like the Griswolds. So, but getting into the sports talks, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear about my fanny pack stories. This past Sunday, there was a no-hitter. It was the second no-hitter of the year, but there was a reason why I thought this one was more interesting and wanted to talk about a little bit. Cubs pitcher Alec Mills threw a no-no on Sunday, striking out 5 and walking 3, so it wasn't a complete, perfect no-hitter, but still a no-hitter is a no-hitter. It's impressive. The thing that's impressive to me was this kid was a walk-on in college. He went to Tennessee, I think it was. It was one of the bigger schools, but when I was reading the story about him being a walk-on in Tennessee, he was walking past the baseball field one day, saw the team practicing, and got in the ear of the coach a little bit, said I could pitch a little bit. Set up a tryout, was pitching 95, 96 miles an hour, and made the team. Then he made it to the major leagues. He was actually cut by the Royals. And the college he went to was Tennessee Martin, but cut by the Royals. This was his 15th career big league start. So I mean, fairly new. He's pretty much still kind of a rookie, and already has his first no-hitter. This story here just proves to you, never give up on any of your dreams, whether how small or how big it is. Here's a kid that wasn't even looked at in high school by any of the colleges, let alone major or small. Became a walk-on, makes it to the pros, gets cut by the Royals, and then picked up by the Cubs only to throw a no-hitter. I mean, it's a nice story to bring up every now and then. We talk about, this NFL player being arrested for domestic abuse, or, this player being arrested for DUI, or this fighter for drugs. It's good to see that there's still some good stories out there that pop up every now and then for every bad story there's out there. So congratulations to Alec Mills of the Cubs, and did it on 114 pitches. That's impressive too. I mean, you figure a lot of the baseball pitchers don't even get to 110, and they're getting pulled in the 7th inning. Completed games, I think, are going to be very hard in the coming future to acquire. It's not like how it was 5-10 years ago. So, and a lot of these Major League Baseball records that are out there, like Cal Ripken's consecutive starts record, will never be touched. Me and my dad are Orioles fans, and my dad was actually telling me about it, that it was on the one game earlier this week, that the guy that is in second place right now behind Cal Ripken, that is active, has to play 14 more years until he's 45 to tie Cal Ripken's record. It's not going to happen. Home run records, that's still possible, especially with how Major League Baseball is trying to favor more the offense when they're changing the rules and things of that nature. But a lot of these records are not going to be touched anymore. But then again, like I just said about Alec Mills, you never know. Don't give up, and you'll be able to break some of these records. Moving on to the NHL playoffs. Vegas Golden Knights have been eliminated, so unfortunately, us Philly fans, Dallas Stars are going to the Stanley Cup Finals, but have to wait a little bit because the Islanders and Tampa Bay were playing last night. I'm just trying to pull up the score real quick, because I'm pretty sure that the Islanders were looking good last night. They're still going on with their series, and right now Tampa Bay is leading the series 3-2, with Game 6 being tonight, Thursday. Either for the Islanders to be eliminated or to push a Game 7. Now, they did play Tuesday night and won in double overtime 2-1. I picked the Islanders in the beginning to upset and beat Tampa Bay because, I really thought their defense was going to be as good against Tampa Bay as they were against my Flyers. But that first game, 8-2, had me scratching my head like, was the Flyers just that bad? But they're clawing their way back in this, and plus Barry Trotz in there, a very veteran coach who's been around championships before, knows how to pull the right strings at the right time. Maybe this is one last final push he could do to get into the finals here. So let's assume that Tampa Bay beats the Islanders, though, tonight. A Dallas-Tampa Bay Stanley Cup playoff finals. As far as my picks, let's just put it this way. Whether it's Tampa Bay or New York Islanders, I'm never going to pick a Dallas team. I think if it were to be Dallas and Tampa Bay, I think Tampa Bay wins within 5 games. If the Islanders win, honestly, I think it could go all 7 games. I think Tampa Bay is the more talented team than the Islanders, so I think they would give Dallas a harder time in the finals. But maybe once it is all written in stone, who's in the finals, I'll put a poll out there or something on Twitter, give my picks, and see what you guys think, if I'm right or wrong, or if you have another opinion. So, and to do that, head over to Twitter, ST Sports Podcast. That's how you follow us there and answer any of our polls that we put out there. So not that I'm trying to rush through all, baseball and hockey and everything, but really, let's be honest. College football and NFL were the main talk of this past weekend. And breaking news earlier today, today's Wednesday, we record, Big Ten is coming back. They changed their mind about the no fall sports this year. Their season's going to start October 24th. Basically, they had a meeting this past weekend. More facts, as far as the testing and how safe the players could be, came out, and they felt more comfortable now than they did when they made the first statement of no sports this fall. They feel like now that they have a better understanding of the testing, everything that's going to be involved with the testings, the procedures they have in place, they're going to start their season up October 24th, the weekend of October 24th. Each Big Ten team will play 8 games, 4 home, 4 road, including 6 division games and 2 crossovers that they still have to determine. And they said the schedule should be out within the next couple days. Now, a lot of question marks here. When the rumors started flying that the Big Ten may come back, was there enough time for them to come back? Here's what we know so far. The Big Ten still can finish the season and crown a champion to be considered for a semifinal spot in the college football playoffs. But the thing is, all 10 of the FBS commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic director has to determine if they should be eligible to rejoin the playoffs. As a whole, with NCAA football, the College Football Playoff Committee hasn't put any type of benchmarks of what teams have to hit to be eligible. With COVID going on, obviously COVID really screwed this whole college football season up a little bit here. And it sounds like, they're just going to take it day by day for now. Here's my thing about it, though. I still don't think they should be eligible to play in a playoff bowl. Play your conference game, and that's as far as you go. Have your New Year's Day bowl games, your Christmas Day bowl games, because the thing is, the teams that started on time are still going to be able to get their 12 games, 11 games, depending on conference championships. These teams are only going to have 8 games. So those other 3-4 games, they could have lost, which would have knocked them out of college football playoffs. So you can't... So I still think there's a little bit of a disadvantage. And you... Oop, guess there's a truck outside. But as far as, determining, like, who should be able to be in the playoffs, I mean, automatically, if you have 2 losses and you're 10-2, you should still be eligible to be going up into that top 4 spot over a 8-0 Big Ten team, because they didn't play a full schedule. And I'm totally against this. Like, I love college football. I'm happy they're playing, but whoever wins the championship, I just think it's going to be a big asterisk right next to it of the COVID championship, because not all the teams started on time, and I think it's going to be hard to really believe whoever wins. And let's just say, excuse me, the Big Ten is eligible to get into the college football playoffs, and one of those teams wins the championship over, say, Notre Dame, who plays 12 games. Well, again, those 2-3 games that they didn't play, they could have lost. Notre Dame could have played a team that, maybe they matched up better to. I just don't think they should play any championship game this year, except for the conference championship. Play your bowl games and get ready for next year, because hopefully, by God, hopefully next year everything has calmed down. We're somewhat back to normal. COVID's gone. Because, man, COVID is really screwing up 2020 here for everybody in the sports world. But speaking of Notre Dame, this past week they played Duke. They won 27-13. Honestly, it felt like more like a 14-13 loss to me, because Ian Book, and this was the big question going in with Notre Dame losing Chase Claypool, Clement, Book's big receivers. He has no receivers now. The guy that has the most catches on the team, with, I think they said, 300 catches in his career, is a transfer. So he's brand new. So he doesn't even have any chemistry really down with Book. Next guy behind him has 10 catches. The 5 or 6 receivers that are on Notre Dame's team added up does not come even close to the transfer's total catches in his career. And it showed. This was going into the season. This was going to show if Ian Book could be that leader and lead the team all by himself without a supporting cast. And it showed. There was 2 interceptions that I believe he had that were just terrible throws right to the defenders, nowhere even close to receivers. But there was a silver lining in the game, and that was our running back here, Kyren Williams. He's a sophomore running back. Started off slow, but once he got going, it really showed he put his stamp on, I want to be the starting running back of this team. And that, going forward, I think is going to be key to this offense. If we could get the running game going, take a little bit of the pressure off of Ian Book, I think we'll be okay. Because also, let's remember what a running game does to a team in general. It runs the clock down, tires that defense out, also keeps your defense off the field, because our defense was a sieve. They were letting everything and anything go against Duke. Now, Duke is a good team. Not a championship team, not a national title team. They did break the top 25 last year, I think 2 or 3 times. They're a good team. But you should have dominated this team. Okay, yeah, you didn't have your top receivers there. They moved on to the NFL. You should have still dominated them. Defensively, you had a couple starters back on that front line. Number 7 was the only one that really showed up for Notre Dame's defense. Our corners were garbage. So they really got to shore some stuff up if they want to have a chance at the college football playoffs, because you're playing full season. Unlike the Big Ten, you cannot afford to lose, because you also got to play Clemson. You're in the ACC. We got to play Clemson yet. 9% sure they're going to be definitely an underdog. I don't want to say they're definitely going to lose, but let's be honest. Clemson is a good team. Clemson is an elite team. We're a very good team. Duke is average, and we barely beat Duke. Terrible. Hopefully, well, I mean, we'll see this weekend, because we have Southern Florida, who honestly I would think would be a little bit less than Duke, and hopefully Notre Dame wasn't overlooking Duke to say Clemson or something like that. Hopefully we play a lot better than we did this past Saturday. So, NFL talk. Some surprises of the week for me. I tuned in to the Tampa Bay New Orleans game in the beginning. Old man Tom didn't look that bad, and then I went to go do some other stuff. And next thing I know, I see, Tom pounding on the sidelines and everything. I start watching the highlights, and not looking too good. Granted, I know it's one game, and we have to all expect this at least for 2-3 weeks. I'm gonna say overall in the NFL, because without preseason, without a real training camp, these games are going to look sloppy, I think. Showed in the Eagles game, showed in the Tampa Bay game with Tom Brady, 2 interceptions. But as far as one of my blue picks, Jacksonville beating the Colts. I put them as a lock, and it was kind of funny because Saturday our good buddy King called me during the Notre Dame game. They were, we're bullshitting and whatever, and I told him about the blue picks, and he nearly lost his shit when I told him that I took Jacksonville over Indy. Listen, I'm on the Gardner Minshew bandwagon here. I'm riding it till he turns into Bobby Hoying or AJ Feely or whoever. I just like his character. I think he's not a bad quarterback. He's not a elite quarterback, but I think he's good enough to make that team good enough. Do they make the playoffs this year? No. Will they make it close? I could see them making it close. Maybe, 1 or 2 spots out of the last playoff spot. But time will tell about Jacksonville. But Tom Brady, if he does not show up this weekend, and the Patriots with Cam Newton, if they keep running that offense how they ran Cam Newton this past weekend, Cam's never going to see week 8. Yeah, you want to use his strengths, which is his running ability, his legs. But you keep running him that much, he's going to get slammed. He's going to get hurt very quickly. And you're going to be back to having that backup quarterback that you realize wasn't your quarterback because how terrible he was during practices. Then, my lovely, lovely Eagles can't even beat a team with no name. What a terrible game. And, for all you Eagles fans that are clamoring, oh, let's trade Wentz and bring Nick Foles back. First off, this loss was not all on Wentz. Was some of it his fault? Without a doubt. Was it Doug Peterson's fault? Without a doubt. Was it the offensive line's fault? Without a doubt. When you give up 8 sacks to the Washington football team, to a rookie on that defense, which I'm not taking anything away from Young, because, he is a phenomenal athlete, but you should be able to block him. And when there's a picture out there seeing 3 Washington players wrapped around Wentz while 3 Eagles offensive linemen are standing there watching, there's something wrong. It was quite obvious that with Lane Johnson not being in there and Miles Sanders not being in there, hurt a lot. Also, you are not going to, I've said this so many times with this Eagles team, with Doug Peterson and Wentz, you are not going to win very many games when you're passing 50 times and running 17 times. You need more of a balanced offense. I know the running game wasn't really there. Boston Scott pretty much shut down the whole time. Corey Clement shut down the whole time. Can't give up on it, though. Gotta at least keep them honest. All it takes is one big breakaway and make that defense think a little bit. And then 3rd and 3, after 2 good plays to get up, 3rd and 3, you could run the ball like you were and get 2 yards and then quarterback sneak. No, let's throw it deep to Deshaun Jackson, overthrow him. The other person I want to kind of rip into here is Zach Ertz. This past week, you air out your dirty laundry about contract negotiations. Oh, I want to be here, the rest of my career, but I don't feel that way because they lowballed me. Well, catch the ball. Wide open shot, which would have been a first down, and you drop it. Dallas Goedert played so much better than you. Like, he deserved the contract. These guys better get their heads out of their asses quick. I understand there was a lot of injuries to this team going into the first game. Get your heads out of your asses. Dougie P, if Wentz is not a pocket passer, I'm sorry, but you got to roll him out. You got to get him on the move. If they're nailing him that much, get him in shotgun so he has a chance to get the ball out quicker. He had no chance to get the ball out. But he also has to learn to throw the freaking ball away. Live to fight another day. We lost 6 points because of him. 2 field goals. I think the only positive I took out of this game was seeing Jalen Reagor. You saw the speed he had. He connected with Wentz on a deep ball. Almost connected, I think it was like 2 more times. One definitely would have been a home run touchdown, but Wentz overshot him. So that was my things I took away from the Eagles game. I'm not, throwing in the towel yet for the season or anything like that, but they got to get their heads out their asses very quickly. So, next up, we have our new segment that we start last week.
Fourth and 5. Jones steps up, takes off, he's in, touchdown!
3rd down and 3. Jackson has all day, looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it. Brown off to the races, and he stays on his feet. Touchdown!
And here is your Blue Picks of the Week, brought to you by Skunk Duck Studios, the best ducking designs on the web. Yes, that is right. We are bringing back again because I was somewhat successful. And, like I said, Jacksonville won. I did good. Giants, I was close. Danny Dimes was looking good there till that awful interception he threw at the goal line, which I believe would have gave them the lead at that point. And then my Raiders didn't blow them out, but they won, so I'll kind of take that as a win here. Now, to kind of review, blowout, we said 9 points or more would be considered a blowout. Pick right. A upset is when we pick a team that is an underdog by 5.5 points or more. So this week, my blowout for this week is Baltimore over Houston. Baltimore's favored by 7. I think they're going to win by even 14 or more. Yes, I understand the Ravens play the Browns, but Kansas City blew out the Texans, and I think the Ravens are a little hotter and have a little bit more potential this year than the Ravens do, or than Kansas City does. Yes, Kansas City won the Super Bowl last year, but let's not forget, they were losing 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. A high-powered, high-octane offense. Only getting shut out. Now, granted, yes, the second quarter they put up 17, but had a hard time getting going. So I'm going with Baltimore as my blowout pick for this week. My lock for this week is the Saints over the Raiders. Saints are favored by 6.5. Tampa Bay is a very good team, even though Brady had a bad game. Now, Michael Thomas is out, so I don't think it's going to be as much of a blowout than it was, or that it could be. But I still think the Saints are going to win this one for my lock. My upset for this week are the Bengals over the Browns. Browns are, for some reason, honestly, I don't know why, but the Browns are favored by 5.5 over the Bengals. Browns are terrible. Baker Mayfield is a step above Johnny Manziel. Odell Beckham is just known for his one-hand catch. I mean, he's a one step above David Tyree. You know, that Browns team is just in shambles. The Bengals, I think, have a lot more potential right now than what the Browns do right now with Baker Mayfield in there for, 3 years now. So I'm going with the upset this week to being the Bengals. Kind of sticking with picks here, sports picks, not blue picks, but we got a UFC fight card this weekend, and this one is actually, it's free, and actually looks fairly stacked. Main event, you got Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. A lot of bad blood there between Colby Covington and T. Woods' team and himself as well. Co-main event, I'm still trying to figure out who I want to pick for this one because I like both guys. Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Nico Price. Both are scrappers, and this potentially could steal the fight of the night, for Saturday. Before them, we have Khamzat Chimaev versus Gerald Meerschaert in the middleweight division. Before them, we have Johnny Walker trying to bounce back versus Ryan Spahn, and Mackenzie Dern versus Rana Marcos. And kicking it off, we have Kevin Holland versus Darren Stewart. Kevin Holland, I think, is the hotter fighter right now, so I'm going with him in the middleweight fight. Mackenzie Dern versus Rana Marcos in the women's strawweight. Marcos, I just don't think is as good of a fighter as they're pairing her up to Mackenzie Dern. I think Dern is just going to steamroll through her. Dern was very impressive in her last win, so going with Mackenzie on that one. Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spahn. I think the Johnny Walker train is completely done. I think it's stopped, and I think Ryan Spahn here is going to win. Khamzat Chimaev versus Gerald Meerschaert. Chimaev is a more impressive fighter, honestly, I think, than Khabib, and he fights just like Khabib. He already has his next fight lined up, which is impressive. And I'll give him kudos. A lot of people are bashing him for it, saying you're looking past your opponent. But listen, a lot of these fighters, we keep asking, can we see you guys fight 3-4 times a year? Conor McGregor, for example, wanted to fight 3-4 times this year. And here's a kid that already has fights lined up to make sure he keeps fighting, whether win or lose. So I'm going with him, and not because he wants to keep fighting, but I just think he's going to be the better fighter here, and I think he's actually going to win by a knockout. Co-main event: Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Nico Price. Here's the thing: if Cowboy loses, I mean, he's got to be right there to retirement, like real close to retirement. Any chance at a belt run, I think, is gone. He is just going to pretty much be a gatekeeper now. Nico Price, he was on a good roll. Lost his last fight. But this one, I will be very disappointed. And I'm not one of these type of fans to say this, but I'll be very disappointed if this one lands on the ground and just lay and pray. Both guys like to scrap. Donald has the kicks. And also came out this past week that he's been sparring a lot more than he has in quite some time. So it seems like he's gearing up for a boxing match, more or less, a kickboxing match, which is right up his alleyway. Then the main event, Colby Covington versus Tyrone Woodley. Honestly, just like the Johnny Walker train, I think the Tyrone Woodley train is done. As much as I want to see him win over Colby, I think Colby is going to win. Just because the Usman fight against Colby, he hung in there, whereas Usman just steamrolled Woodley. I think Covington wins by knockout, but I am pulling for Woodley. So I think that's going to be it for this week. Make sure you head over to staytunesports.net. Check out our all social media links on the right hand side there. Click the merch tab. Pick out your shirt, your hat, whatever you want to buy. I mean, Christmas will be just around the corner, so it's a good time to start looking to see for Christmas gifts. So, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.